Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson joins me now. What is your reaction, Colonel, to the pronouncements, some of them kind of internally contradictory, frankly, about the intelligence that led to this strike?
I think it's a bunch of bull, frankly. And I think we're going to find out it's a bunch of bull. They'll try to craft it, as did George Tenet and John McLaughlin, to make it look as if it were imminent and so forth, but it's a bunch of bull. This morning at 2 a.m., I was on the line with London, and I was fortunate to have their MOD spokesperson, their Minister of Defense spokesperson, go on before me. And he made a very elegant, much more elegant than Trump, Esper, or Pompeo, appeal to this being simply a tactical strike, and there would be no escalatory dimension to it. I then went on and said, wrong, Mr. Spokesperson. This was a strategic move of the first order, and it was a strategic move that could lead to war. And even worse, it was a strategic move that has given the initiative for whether that war starts or not to our enemy. That is to say, it is up to Iran now as to how proportional or not proportional it is in its response, inevitable response, to what we've done. So we've surrendered the strategic initiative to Iran.
It's a really important point there, because all of us have, this happened. It sounds from the reporting that the president had been lobbied by Mike Pompeo behind the scenes for it to happen. The degree of the intelligence behind it is very unclear. And again, like I said, justifications internally inconsistent and contradictory. But ultimately, what all the coverage now focuses on is on what does the Iranian government do? What calculations do they make? And this sort of collective hope that it's limited, which is just a bizarre situation to find ourselves in.
It is. And that's where we've put ourselves with the Secretary of State principally, but others like Lindsey Graham and Esper and so forth, leading the president to this trough so he could drink out of it. That's where we are right now. Now, what I'm hearing from Tehran gives me a little bit of hope, because what I'm hearing is we're not going to withdraw from the JCPOA, the nuclear agreement. We want to keep China and Russia, and we want to keep the Europeans. So we're not going to withdraw. We're not going to kick out the inspectors, and we're not going to leave the non-proliferation treaty as Kim Jong-il, now Kim Jong-un, did. We are going to do what we have to do to keep that almost moribund agreement alive. And we're going to be very proportional and take our time as to the response. Now, the problem with that, of course, is proportionality is in the eye of the beholder.
Of course.
And if Trump is even more in peril politically, then he may do something even if it's a proportional response. So I'm really worried that we are on a path to war.
I wonder what you make of watching people that famously argued for the Iraq War, famously talked about the intelligence in the Iraq War, now make the case once again. And I thought of this clip of Mike Pence when he was then a member of Congress back in 2004. This is him announcing that the weapons of mass destruction have been found in Iraq. Take a listen.
I am here to report, as the United States military confirmed in Iraq on Monday, weapons of mass destruction have been found in Iraq in the form of 2 separate artillery shells containing sarin and mustard gas. Where are the WMDs? We've been asked again and again. Well, Mr. Speaker, they're where they've always been, hidden in Iraq, within the reach of terrorists, a threat to the Iraqi people, U.S. soldiers, and the world.
You would think that would have ended his career and the careers of other people, and yet he's the vice president of the United States, and the coterie of people that supported him, supported the unimaginable devastation in Iraq, are all still plying their trade.
You're absolutely right. And you could have played a tape similar to that, maybe not quite as asinine, but similar to that for almost all of these people. All of them were there pushing and pushing for war with Iraq in 2002 and 2003. This is the same crowd. President Obama told me in the Roosevelt Room just outside the Oval Office in a moment of rare candor. He looked at me and General Paul Eaton across the table, John Kerry sitting right beside him. He said, "There's a bias in this town towards war." You think, Mr. President? There is a bias in this town towards war, and Mr. Trump has just been ensnared in that bias.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.